Mic check.
I just heard you.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
You can't? Okay. One sec. I think they're having some audio issues in the room.
Yep, and I can hear you as well, Natalie.
Okay. Thank you.
No.
Okay, mic check. Okay, if somebody's logged on the Zoom, they have their sound on. I need them to mute their sound in the room. It's echoing.
I do hear you now.
Okay, mic check. Okay, if somebody's logged on the Zoom, they have their sound. I need them to mute their sound in the room. It's echoing. Can I get a mic check out of the cane room, please?
I do hear you now.
Can anybody online Zoom, can you guys hear us?
It's working now.
Yes, we can hear you, or I can hear you.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yes, we can hear you. I think it's safe to resume the meeting, Ms. President.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
So we've got to start from the beginning and approve minutes and everything.
We got to start from the beginning and approve minutes. Okay, do I use this time then? No? Chrissy?
time to start the meeting? Yes.
Okay,
We start at 4 o'clock.
well, no, we were restarting, yeah.
4:26.
4:26. So I'd like to call the SL4B Corporation meeting to order on Wednesday, January 18th, 2023 at 4:26 p.m. Citizens who desire to address the City Council Board and or Commission with regard to matters on the agenda will be read and received at this time. All right. Consideration of an action on the minutes of November 20th, November 30th, 2022 and December 14th, 2022 meetings. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so Director Kamali approved, Director Atkinson, second, Director McCutcheon.
Aye. Director
Lane. Yes. Director Atkinson,
Yes.
Director Kamali,
Yes.
Director Besesny.
Yes. Yes.
And I approve. The motion carries unanimously. Now, receive and hear, oh, nope, sorry. Consideration of an action on authorization of a contract with Newmark and Company Real Estate, Inc. in the amount of $87,500 for life science strategy and study. Alba presenting.
So
Good afternoon. I will be presenting and bringing forward the contract consideration for a life science strategy with UMARK. We do have Kim Moore online. She is Executive Managing Director with UMARK. And so a little bit about UMARK and their company backgrounds. UMARK provides professional consulting services to a range of clients, including both private and public clients. They are headquartered in New York with about 6,700 employees globally who average about 20 years of experience in their fields of expertise. In addition to the vast number of services they do offer a comprehensive suite of services to life science tenants and owners through the life science practice group. Newmark's specialized advisors to assist clients in strategic planning and targeted industry analysis, workforce and talent development, and stakeholder and community engagement. Over the past few years, we have worked closely with Newmark on several projects and built a successful relationship with them. And recently, Newmark did work with the Greater Houston Partnership, one of our regional partners, to create a life science report for the Houston region that focused on life sciences sectors of focus, workforce and education pipeline and gaps, regional development priorities and corridors, regional collaboration and coordination, business case development and incentives. And using this final study, we're going to now look at the Sugar Land region and our life science market and analyze it and outline a path forward. The life science report I did just mention will be emailed to you after this meeting. So as you know, in the past year, the Sugar Land Office of Economic Development did adopt 5 main target industries that we got through the workforce and target industry analysis that were highlighted for opportunities for additional employment and growth and capital investments. The target industries include advanced manufacturing, business and professional services, life sciences, information technology, and tourism. So through identifying life sciences as a target industry in that study, this contract will strengthen Sugar Land's position in an already growing life science ecosystem. The contract does have a 3-phase approach, with the first phase being mobilization and current industry analysis. This phase includes an analysis of Sugar Land's current position in the life science industry, as well as identification of industry segments or prioritization. The second phase is assessment and opportunities analysis. Newmark here will identify Sugar Land's marketable advantages, priority development areas, and an incentive policy review that will bring recommendations for aligning with life science priorities. The third phase is integration roadmap and path forward. Newmark will provide an in-person presentation of their findings and recommendations for our path forward in the life science industry. And this strategy will strengthen our standing in the industry and give the business development division a specific target group of companies to attract and pursue. So Sugar Land does have a locational advantage. It's ready to complement the medical center in Houston and its life science industry. And Sugarland is also along the 59 corridor, leading back into Fort Bend County, and this will allow regional collaboration to further grow our life science ecosystem in the county. So now I will turn it over to Kim to speak a bit more about the process and how this contract will work.
And Kim, if possible, condense, please.
Most definitely. So, hi, Kim Moore. Thanks again for having me, and also for this opportunity to work with you on this life science strategy. Very excited to do this, but just wanted to throw in a couple of little points. Newmark is a consulting service, or we are part of a consulting service that's within Newmark, the real estate portion of the company. We are site selectors, we are incentives providers, and business consultants, which is kind of like the think tank within the real estate firm. We're the ones who work with companies as they're looking to relocate or expand across the US. And we use that same process to do these economic development studies. Now, we don't like to call them studies. We like to call them plans, because the most important part is for this not to sit on a shelf, but to be something that is actionable and implementable immediately upon delivery. You will have short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, and they will be very task-oriented and defined to give you not only how easy we think it is or when you should start it, but also how expensive it might be, how challenging it might be, who would be responsible for it, who would be supporting it, and then also measurements and how to track your success to make sure that you are getting what you need out of that. We approach these plans very much like we do our site selection work. We would interview companies and stakeholders just like we would do if we were bringing a company to town, and use that in helping you to define how best to put your best foot forward in speaking the language that we site selectors and businesses use in making their decisions. So strengthening your marketing messaging, as well as the critical location factor focus. And then we will be also working to help define policies using our experience with working with companies all over the US and the globe in what their expectations are when they're looking for a new location, so that hopefully brings you quick and fast success on recruitment efforts.
Kim?
Thanks.
So now the budget terms and conditions, the total contract amount is $175,000. It would be split between the 4A and 4B corporations. And upon execution and approval of this contract, a payment of $25,000 will be paid from each corporation for a total of $50,000, leaving a balance of $125,000 to be made when the final report has been delivered, which would be $62,500 from each corporation. The strategy's expected completion is about 20 weeks or 5 months, and we are expected to begin next month. Sorry, who can hear me? So now any clarifying questions I can answer? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the contract is a fixed fee of $150,000, and so I guess so the additional $25,000 are for travel. And so how many trips is that for $25,000?
There's the in-person interviews that we're gonna have with stakeholders and the final report. I believe it's outlined in the scope of work, and if it's not, I'm so sorry, I can look at it for the stakeholder interviews and how much those are gonna be, but I think it's about 3 or 4.
Director Lane.
What line item does this come out of in the budget for 4B? Does it come out of economic development program or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Director Kamala. Turn your microphone on, please.
After the initial 5 months and the report comes in, what's next?
This strategy will outline the path
And
for the license.
will there be additional follow-up? I'm sorry. Will there be additional requirements of funding? Have we set aside additional funding to implement the strategy, or will staff be implementing the strategy on a go forward? Or will we need the consultant again for additional dollars?
Kim, I'm gonna lean on you to answer the question.
Most of the time, most cities do take it upon themselves to do implementation on their own. However, we do have a couple of clients that do have us come on and assist with implementation. I'm not necessarily foreseeing that with this contract. I would expect for there probably to be some funds needed for marketing recruitment efforts to go through the study, possibly, to create maybe some workforce programs. Not all of them would be probably coming from this board. There could be others that would be, through different entities depending on what those recommendations are. So like if we recommended a new training program, though the board would be, I'm sure, able to support it, more than likely that would come through your workforce development board. It would come through skills development funds, other options out there to help fund those types of services. So not all of the recommendations that need to be implemented are going to be at the responsibility of the board or even the city to necessarily input, but I would assume that if there are some infrastructure needs to bring a site ready, or other things like that, that might be something that this board might consider in the future, but it's hard to tell what those recommendations would be or what those funding needs would be until the study is underway.
So one thing, just to add real quick, one thing that I could foresee is that we're looking to them to help guide us on what kind of incentives does the life science industry need to be able to recruit them and grow them in our community, because it is very different than a headquarters or an advanced manufacturer. So things like that. But that's, once we have the plan, we can then come to the board, build it into our budget, and it become a part of our budget process. And I think there could be lots of other opportunities that we can, again, make part of our budget process and decide if that's a path we want to go down. But we're really excited about the opportunity.
Any other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve? Director Kamali, you need to have the microphone.
My second buzzes whenever I turn it on.
Yeah,
It's the
okay.
microphone.
That's all right. All right, and Director Bessetti, second. Hart,
Yes.
Director McCutcheon.
Aye.
Director Lane.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Alba. Thank you, Kim.
We look forward to working with you. Thank you so much.
Right. Okay. Put all that stuff going now. Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B-R-23-03, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugarland 4B Corporation approving a request by the City of Sugarland to fund entryway improvements to be located at the intersection of Bernie Road and Jess Purtle Boulevard under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds. John presenting.
Howdy all. A quick overview about the expectations of the board during this meeting. First, there will be a public hearing for each of the joint CIP resolution items. Following the public hearing, I will briefly go over a quick overview of each of the proposed projects that the HOAs and POAs applied for through the Sugarland 4B joint CIP program. After going over the item, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions if needed. And after that, any member of the board can make a motion to approve the project. Printed in front of you with blue text is a handy script that contains the language that you need to use to approve the project. We really ask that you use the script for each motion. Given the nature of some of the projects, it allows for the board to identify exactly how much you would like to fund each project that is approved, and the script corresponds with the resolutions as well. The program budget is shown on the screen. We have approximately $249,958 available, and the total amount requested from the SL4B is up there as well. And if we happen to go over the amount available, the opportunity to use the reserve for opportunities is available. It would require an amendment to the budget that we would bring as an agenda item at the next SL4B meeting, which we're happy to accommodate. And then one final reminder, to avoid a potential conflict of interest, you must recuse yourself during the agenda item that affects your specific neighborhood or subdivision. If you live in one of the communities listed here, then please recuse yourself by stepping out of the room during that item, and we'll bring you back into the room once we've gone through the item. And with that, we'll start a quick overview of Estates of Oyster Creek. They applied with entryway improvements to be located at the intersection of Bernie Road and Jess Purtle Boulevard. This includes 3 pedestal monuments and landscaping. The total estimated project cost is $12,675.53, and requested from the 4B is $6,337.76. With that, staff recommends the SL4B hold a public hearing and approve resolution number SL4B 202303, approving SL4B funding for the joint CIP project as part of the fiscal year 2023 joint capital improvement project in the amount determined by the board. Excuse me. And there's a map, in front of you is a map of the whole presentation too, or there's some pictures back. With that.
So at this point, I would like to open the public hearing at 4:40 PM. Receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B-R-23-03. Anyone on this one? All right, I will close the public hearing on SL4B-R-2303 at 4:41 PM. Consideration of an action on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B-R-2303, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugarland 4B Corporation approving a request by the City of Sugarland to fund entryway improvements to be located at the intersection of Bernie Road and Just Fertile Boulevard under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvements projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds. At this time, we'll entertain questions from the board. Any questions? Director Lane.
I don't know if I can go to this slide over here. So if we approve all of these amounts, it's gonna go probably about 40,000 over budget, right?
Yes.
And you could pull the 40,000 from reserve for opportunity.
If we make an adjustment to, if we make the adjustment to the budget,
Which the board would approve.
we would have to have another meeting to approve the budget change in order to do that.
Which will be next meeting.
Okay. I just have a concern that if that's reserved for other opportunities that we're trying to get things off the ground, I'm not sure. In other areas of the city, I would prefer not to go into the reserve for opportunities. Use that, can you clarify that?
No, I would say if that's the case and if other board members feel like, is there a way that we could orient things to the discussing everything at the end and the budget amounts at the end, and then each vote would happen after that discussion took place? So we could do the presentations and we can do the public hearings for each item, but rather than you guys voting on each item as they come, we wait for the discussion at the end. Shay's not shaking her head at me.
You really should be taking it item by.
But the problem is that if it's the entire budget and they don't want to do that, then
That's just one person
now.
that's a discussion that needs to take place.
I mean, another item would be is to go through, we approve, I guess we could approve, and because there may be some things that we choose not to fund all of it. Because in the workshop, some of the discussions, some of the items, I think we had said weren't going to. Director Kamali?
Just a reminder for the board, reserve for opportunity is for these type of items as well, and we have a reserve. So we're in the grand scheme of things, if everything is approved, we're about $45,000 over. Once again, in the grand scheme of things, it's a small dollar amount compared to our $400,000 budget that the city of Sherwood has. And $200,000. Mind you, we also did not use $49,000 in the previous. So I hear what Jennifer is saying, but can we not do this later and change the amounts? Because there may be amounts that change, and I don't know how everyone else feels. But I just wanted to put that out there.
Meaning we do it at the end.
Correct, but the reserve for opportunity allows us to keep our city beautiful, keep our city moving forward, looking dynamic, moving people in. That's what reserve for opportunity.
Director McCutcheon.
Don't we have several $1 million in our reserve for opportunity?
So we've got $3 million in both corporations and reserve for opportunities. And then in the 4B specifically, we have a very healthy fund balance. Like we are way over what we are required to keep. So I am not concerned with dipping into it for an additional, but again, that's a board decision. If you like all the projects and you support all of them and you want to go into that and do that budget amendment, we can. I don't have financial concerns over that. I apologize that we don't have Scott here to help with that, but
Yeah, I guess that was my point with that. If we have to, well, we indicated the last time we may not fully fund all of the projects, but that being said, I'm comfortable if we need to dip in, 30 or 1,000 or something like that into the reserve for opportunities, because several, and these are very important projects that we're partnering with the community on. So I don't mind if we dip in a little bit.
Director Basilza.
We don't have to wait till the next meeting to approve all of them. We can approve certain ones that get to the budget amount. And those can move forward, and then we have one or two that fold over.
We could do that also. We can also do that if necessary. So we have Jennifer Lynch, Director.
So this, I just started on SL4B. So I don't know during the course of my term or the course of this budget cycle, how many more projects are gonna come through where we may go over budget and then pull out of reserve for opportunities.
Right,
I don't know.
yeah, the joint CIP process for the year is closed. So that means no more projects can come in this year for the joint CIP. So this would be it, because we only open it for a period of time. There would have to be an exception for something else to come through.
You okay?
Right now,
I agree with going through these and approving them individually, subject to an overall review at the end if you need to.
Okay,
Is there any problem with that?
these are action items, these are resolutions, this is not a workshop.
right,
So you will need to consider each item individually, and you already asked to take action on each item. So if you approve one of these resolutions, there's not a mechanism to then go back
and
change it.
unapprove it.
I mean,
Okay, so the answer is we cannot approve these individually and go through them subject to a cap review.
And we have to do these sequentially. We cannot wait till the end.
But I think I have to defer to the council members on the contingency reserve.
We need to take them item by item.
Okay,
And I said, we're good on contingency.
so we're gonna go through them item by item.
Understood.
So now I'm gonna go back to, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, now we need to read.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay. I move to approve resolution number SL4BR 2303, funding entryway improvements to be located at the intersection of Bernie Road and Just Pearl Boulevard in the amount of $6,337.76.
All right, so we have Director McCutcheon approved, made a motion to approve, and Director Besesny second. Director Lane. Director Atkinson.
I agree.
Director Besesny. Director Kamal. Director McCutcheon. I also approve. That one carries unanimously. Thank you. Now, resolution SL4B-R-23-01. Approving a request by the city of Sugar Land to fund entryway signage improvements to be located at the entrances to the Sugar Creek Center Office Park at number 1, US Highway 90 and Commerce Green Boulevard, number 2, US 90A at Century Square, US 59 and Commerce Green, and US 59 Sugar Creek, under the council policy regarding participation in community-based organizations in capital improvements using Sugar Land 4B Corporation funds. John.
This project is for the entryway signage improvements in the Sugar Creek Center Office Park requested by the Sugar Creek Center Property Owners Association. As you can see, there's pictures on the right. Requested from the SL4B was $100,000, which is 45% of the estimated total project cost. Staff recommends the SL4B hold a public hearing and approve resolution number SL4B R-23-1, approving SL4B funding for the joint CIP project as part of the fiscal year 2023 joint capital improvement program in the amount determined by the board.
All right. Receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B-R-23-01. Public hearing is opened at 4:50 PM. Is there anyone to speak on this one? All right, I will close the public hearing at 4:50 PM. Consideration of and action on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B-R-23-01. Resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugarland 4B Corporation approving a request by the City of Sugarland upon entryway signage. Improvements to be located at the entrances to the Sugar Creek Center Office Park at 1 US Highway 90A and Commerce Green, 2 US Highway 90A and Century Square, 3 Highway 59 and Commerce Green, and 4 US Highway 59 and Sugar Creek Center Boulevard under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds. Open for questions. Do people on the board have any questions? Director McCutcheon?
Yes, I know the estimated project cost, it's almost $224,000. And I'm wondering if the applicant would be potentially interested in splitting, doing part of it this year and part of it next year. Then that way we could contribute, $75,000 this year and then some amount, up to $75,000 next year. And we do say the policy establishes guidelines that $75,000 is the maximum dollar amount awarded per project. And I said that is it's a guideline, but that's a guideline that we've always adhered to since I've been on 4B. So I don't know if it'd be possible for it to be split into 2 years. And so then that way we could, like I said, based on approval from 4B, then contribute to the project 2 years in a row and up to $150,000 over 2 years.
I'm more inclined to say only give 75,000 to keep the precedent that we've established,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, right, for this, I'm not saying
And from my understanding, it's one project. It wouldn't be different phases over years. I would think they would then have to submit another request.
Oh, right, they'd have to submit another request, yes, next year for maybe one or two of the items or something. I don't know.
I will say that we're to answer that. We are joined by the applicant, Mr. Harry Green, here in the back to answer any questions if needed. If the board decided to fund the project in the amount of 75,000, then the total cost of the project would decrease by approximately 12,000, and the POA would no longer complete the sign to be located on the top right here at Century Square Boulevard and Highway 90.
But the other 3 would be done.
Yes, ma'am.
Director Kamali, did you have a question or a comment?
Yes, so John, you said the total project cost drops by $12,000?
Yes, sir.
So it goes from 230 or 223 to 211,
About 211, yes.
and then we would fund.
But we would still only fund
Oh,
75,000.
In that situation, yes.
So having said that, if we make a motion, we possibly need to change some of this because it's not 4 different signs.
It
We
would,
have to remove one of the signs with the motion based on what you said, because
No, sir. The resolutions are written in a way to allow for that flexibility. So if you decide to fund it at a lesser amount than what is being asked for, then that flexibility is built in. To
and
the
so they can
resolution.
choose, we can say 75,000, but the way it's written here is fine.
Yes.
Yes, we would adjust it when we actually do the written contract. We would specify which sign would actually be included.
because as I read the motion here, it's not 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I understand your question now. Yes, you would have to omit the sign that is not being built in that case.
And once again, it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4.
It looks like it's the,
It's number 2.
yeah, that's the one.
I just make a comment, and that is, I'm not as concerned with the 75,000 precedent if we determine to do it. What I would be concerned here is just kind of an incomplete, inconsistent view of the park, and I'd rather keep that holistic. Again, in the beautification and that type of the city, that we do the whole thing just because then it matches and it's a consistent theme across the development. my only consideration.
Director Lane?
Are the. Tell me about, if you could explain the process of changing the sign, are the lights not working, is the bricks falling off, or?
So,
what's going on with that?
yeah, the older signs, I mean, to me, they're kind of in old English letters. There you go.
So we're changing the bricks and we're changing the font.
As well as the landscaping and lighting improvements as well.
The light, the backlighting, yes.
Just for clarification, 3 of the signs are brand new.
And then one, well,
3 of those are the brick, correct, Mr. Green? 3 of those signs are brand new. The existing brick ones are coming down.
mhm,
Complete demo of every one of
Yes.
those signs, all 4 signs.
It's not a refurbishment of the existing infrastructure.
correct.
It's every brand new sign.
Is the infrastructure falling apart?
No, it's more just of an updating,
Yeah.
correct? It's an updating of the park.
Yes.
Old and tired.
Direction so that it'd be more visible from, for traffic than the way it is now. Right now it faces the office buildings and this new, monument signage would face the highway and be more visible to traffic.
And the 4th sign?
Is the one in kind of there, not my favorite. See, that's the one I'm not a big fan of. I like the other ones. I don't like that one. I didn't mind the old English, but that's me. So do we have any kind of motion or other questions to ask?
I have no more questions. I'll make the motion.
All right,
I move to approve resolution number SL4B R 23-01, funding entryway signage and improvements to be located at the entrances to the Sugar Creek Center Office Park at US 90 and Commerce Green, US 59 in Commerce Green Boulevard, US 59 in Sugar Creek Boulevard, in the amount of $75,000.
do I have a second?
Second.
All right, so we have Director Molly made the motion to approve, Director McCutcheon second, Director Atkinson,
Yes, aye.
Director Lane.
Then I.
Aye. So you got that, okay? Director Bessezni,
Yes.
Director Kirkland,
Aye.
Director Kamali, Director McCutcheon.
Aye.
And I approve, so it's 6 approved and 1 denied. All right. Sugarland 4B Corporation, resolution number SL4B R 23-09. A resolution of the Board of Directors of Sugarland 4B Corporation approving a request by the city of Sugarland to fund Esplanade landscaping improvements to be located along Sugar Creek at the intersection of Highway 59 and Sugar Creek Boulevard under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations and capital improvements using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds.
The home HOA, Sugar Creek HOA, came back with some additional imagery following last meeting for the Esplanade landscaping improvements. I'll show the next slide here in a second. The amount requested from the SL4B is $12,215.58. Staff recommends the SL4B hold a public hearing and approve resolution number SL4B R 23-9, approving SL4B funding for the joint CIP project as part of the fiscal year 2023 joint capital improvement program in the amount determined by the board. The proposed or the imagery follows for those Esplanade landscaping improvements to be located at this intersection. So.
All right, receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution number SL4B R 23-09. Public hearing is opened at 4:59 p.m. Anyone here to speak on this one? Like to close the public hearing at 4:59 p.m. Consideration of an action on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution number SL4B R 2309, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugarland 4B Corporation approving a request by the city of Sugarland to fund Esplanade landscaping improvements to be located along the Sugar Creek at the intersection of 59 and Sugar Creek Boulevard under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvements project using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds. Are there any questions from the board? Oh, go ahead.
Who
Sorry.
maintains it after, is it that community?
Yes. It's the location.
Right. So the other is, and I know we have some coming up with regard to the freeze and replacement for the freeze. Is this, so something to consider for now moving forward, but is it something we want to continue to spend money on going forward is shrubbery and items like that? Because
In the last meeting, didn't we spoke about this would be the last year we would do that from the freeze. So normally this wouldn't be in our scope, but the freeze is an exception, and then we'll hold this exception for this last time, and then after that, no more unless we decide.
We had another freeze this year, though, 17 degrees with the wind chill of 1,
not for,
but not for this.
Not
The
for the
damage
length
wasn't
of time.
extensive. Yeah, it had the sense of damage. We could have another freeze.
so if I would, I mean, that would be something, I guess, further, but going forward, that would be the way I would think it makes sense to go forward. Yes?
I agree.
All right. Any other questions though on this one? Do we have a motion?
I move to approve resolution number SL4BR 2309, funding Esplanade landscaping improvements to be located along Sugar Creek Boulevard at the intersection of US Highway 59 and Sugar Creek Boulevard in the amount of $12,215.58.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Director McCutcheon made the motion to approve. Director Atkins second. Director Lane.
Approved.
Director Molly.
Aye.
Approved.
Director McCutcheon.
Aye.
And Director Atkinson, and I approve. The motion carries unanimously. Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B-R-23-04, approving a request by the city of Sugarland to fund bicycle lane improvements to be located along Edgewater Drive and Waterway Drive under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvement projects, Sugarland 4B Corporation funds. John.
The project for the bicycle lane improvements, though, it's a question as to the residents' support to the proposed bike lanes. Mr. Frank Barboza, who's Lakes of Edgewater's representative, is here today to answer any questions if needed. Out of 37 respondents, 73% voted yes and 27% voted no. There are approximately 251 households in the subdivision. The proposed bike lanes are also included in the future mobility master plan, as well as the 2013 pedestrian/bike master plan, which recommends bicycle facilities along the this corridor as high priority. So
All right, receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution number SL4B-R-2304, opening the public hearing at 5:03. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing at 5:03 p.m. Consideration of an action on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution number SL4B-R-23-04. Resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugarland 4B Corporation approving a request by the city of Sugarland to fund bicycle lane improvements to be located along Edgewater Drive and Waterway Drive under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds. Are there questions?
This is
Director
my
McCutcheon.
question. Yeah. The project cost is $79,000, and then the different contributions add up to $80,000. Is that any big deal? The numbers don't exactly match.
apologies, that was a mistake on my part. The city's contribution would make up the remaining
39.
about above the 40,000, so at about 39. I will say that based on my conversations with engineering, that estimate is pretty high. And it will likely, the actual project cost will likely be under that amount of 79. So
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
I make a motion.
Read. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Turn on the, oh, you're there.
This one's about.
Yeah.
I move to approve the resolution number SL4B R2309, funding Esplanade, landscaping and improvements to be located along Sugar Creek Boulevard.
That's the
Am I
wrong
reading
one.
the wrong one? Yeah,
Yes, the
I'm
wrong
reading-
one.
Yeah, I
Read number 4.
scratch that. Rewind, and here we go.
Number
I
4.
move to approve the resolution SL4B R2304, funding bicycle lane improvements to be located along Edgewater Drive and Watersway Drive in the amount of $20,000.
Second.
Director Smalley made the motion, Director McCutcheon second, Director Lane, Director Atkinson,
Approved.
Director Kirkland,
Approved.
Director Business,
Approved.
Director Smalley,
Approved.
Director McCutcheon.
Aye.
And I approve. The motion carries unanimously. Next one. Resolution SL4B R-23-07, a request by the city of Sugarland to fund landscaping improvements to be located at various locations along Williams Trace Boulevard between Highway 6 and Austin Parkway under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds.
These landscaping improvements on Williams Trace, the amount requested from the SL4B for this project is $3,849. Staff recommends the SL4B hold a public hearing to approve resolution SL4B R-237 approving SL4B funding for the joint CIP project as part of the FY23 joint capital improvement program in the amount determined by the board. There was one question last time about why the pictures show Colony Bend versus Colony Grant. Learned something yesterday. Colony Grant HOA is the governing entity for Colony Grant, Colony Bend, and Williams Grant. And so that is why there are different names on the central case.
Thank you, that's helpful. All right, receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on Sugarland 4B Corporation resolution number SL4B R-23-07, opening the public hearing at 5:07 p.m.
No, ma'am.
Close the public hearing at 5:07 p.m. Consideration of an action on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B R-2307, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugarland 4B Corporation approving a request by the City of Sugarland to fund landscaping improvements to be located at various locations along Williams Trace between Highway 6 and Austin Parkway under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations and capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds. Any questions on this one?
I move to approve
Read.
resolution number SLU4 R-23-07, funding landscaping improvements to be located at various locations along William Trace Boulevard between Highway 6 and Austin Parkway in the amount of $3,849.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Director Besesny made the motion, Director Atkinson second. Director Lane, Director Kamali,
Approved.
Director Kirkland,
Approved.
Director McCutcheon.
Aye.
Director Atkinson,
Approved.
Director Besesny. And I approve, the motion carried unanimously. All right,
Madam Chair, just a
Yes.
question
yes, sir,
Before we move to the next one,
yes,
John, you mentioned recuse yourself only if you live in the neighborhood. Is that correct? It's not over the neighborhood as a city councilman.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
You live in Telfair.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
thank you. All right, Sugarland for resolution SL4B R-23-05, a request by the city of Sugarland to fund entryway landscaping improvements to be located near the intersection of 90A and High Meadows Drive under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations and capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds.
The estimated total project cost here is about 25,000. Requested from the SL4B is 12,905 and 22 cents. Staff recommends the SL4B hold a public hearing and approve resolution number SL4B R-2305 approving SL4B funding for the joint CIP project as part of the fiscal year 2023 joint CIP program in the amount determined by the board.
All right, receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on Sugarland 4B Corporation resolution, if I did that right, yeah, SL4B-R-2305, public hearing, opening public hearing at 5:10 PM.
We have no.
All right, closing public hearing at 5:10 PM. Consideration of an action on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution number SL4B-R-2305. Resolution of the Board of Directors of Sugarland 4B approving a request by the city of Sugarland to fund entryway landscaping improvements to be located near the intersection of US Highway 90A and High Meadows Drive under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds. Are there any questions?
I move to approve.
Whoa.
Is this the one we got the explanation on?
Pass it,
yes.
John.
The option
sir.
of removing a tree branch versus a tree, was that this one here?
Yes, sir. And we're also joined by Mr. Bohan in the audience, who's representing the HOA. Question was raised as concerning why the trees would be removed as part of their entryway landscaping project. According to the HOA representative, Mr. Hahn, a live oak would need to be removed as one of the large branches distracts from the monument. The option of removing the branch only by itself was explored, but the HOA's arborist is concerned how it would affect the overall health of the tree. In addition, 2 existing crepe myrtles would also be removed because of the health of these trees declining. So.
Okay, well, I read that, I guess. What struck me was that I've never met an arborist in Sugarland that was not in favor of removing a tree. And when I look at this, it still occurs to me that tree branch could be removed instead of the tree. And if the tree dies, then you remove it. Apparently, that's not what the HOA wants to do, so I won't argue the point.
Any other questions or comments?
I'd like to save the tree if possible. I like saving tree.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know how to.
I don't know how to do that, but I hate to see a live oak cut down if when maybe my branch would suffice. And like I said, if it dies later, then you can cut through a tree at that time.
Yeah, it's just.
Mr. Hahn, did you have any comments?
Sure.
You'll need a microphone.
Yes, please have a microphone. Say your name too, please.
Hi, I'm Bo with New Territory. Just talk about that a little bit more. As with Sugarland, we're overplanted just like everything else, and it's actually the trees don't thrive as well so close to each other in that grouping. There's 4 other live oaks to the left of that one, and again, if you look at it, and not only just our arborist but our consultant from A&M just says that one well-planted tree like a live oak tree will do so much better for the environment, so much better shade than 3 or 4 planted really close to each other. So I understand your concern. We get that a lot from our residents ourselves. We talk to other like First Colony, they have a lot of similar issues with so much overplanting. So it really would be an added benefit. And again, for the most part, you can see on the bottom left picture, that's the limb that's covering where the crepe myrtles would be. So it is like an aesthetic point of view of missing out, taken away from the aesthetics of the new plant landscaping.
Yeah, I agree with you on your point with,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't realize there were that many live oaks planted
Yes, ma'am.
in such a dense area. And that is true. They compete for sun, for water, for resources.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I move to approve resolution SL4B-R-2305, funding entryway landscaping improvements to be held near the intersection of US 90A and High Meadows Drive in the amount of $12,905.22.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So Director Kamali made the motion, Director McCutcheon, second. Director Bez says.
Yes.
Director Atkinson,
Yes.
Director Lang. Director McCutcheon.
Aye.
Director Kamali. And I approve. The motion carries unanimously. All right. Resolution SL4B-R-2302, request by the city of Sugarland to fund 1 landscape improvements to be located at various locations along Bayview Drive. 2, a tree sculpture to be located in a privately owned community park at 930 Sugar Lakes Drive under the council policy regarding participation in community-based organizations and capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B Corporation funds.
This project has three parts, landscaping improvements on Bayview Drive, as well as repurposing a dying ash tree located in a community park to a tree sculpture. Requested from the SL4B is $18,016 for the estimated total project cost of the staff recommends the SL4B will public hearing. We are agreeing to approve the SL4B funding for the CIP project as part of the fiscal year 23 joint CIP program. And they are not reasons by the board.
All right. Receive and hire all persons desiring to be heard on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution SL4B R-23-02. Public hearing open at 5:15 p.m. Christy, I believe you have a note, a letter that you would like to read.
Yes, but we also have a citizen.
Yes,
here.
yeah, yes. The citizen. Okay, Mr. George Watson, I believe.
My name is George Watson. I live at 1102 Fourth Street Drive. I'd like to support my HOA in this endeavor. I think that the progress we've made since last year's 4B plan is wonderful. I was a very vocal critic of it last year, but since the plan's been in October, I've changed my mind. I fully support our HOA and their endeavors to do this. And I just felt that I needed to come up here to show my support since I was such a vocal critic last year. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, George. And now you have a letter from Mr. Pearson, I believe.
Yes, the city secretary's office received the following letter from Joseph Pearson, who lives at 914 Sandpiper in Sugar Land, Texas, addressing the board. It is with regret that I will be unable to attend today's City of Sugar Land 4B Corporation meeting. As a resident, I had intended to speak out sharply in opposition to the current application being considered by the members of the 4B Corporation. I request each of you as members of the 4B Corporation Board to vote no on the proposal before you today. If history has taught the residents of the Sugar Lake subdivision, it is to be wary of the Sugar Lakes Board of Trustees and its members. The previous application and award funds happened under the dark cloak of secrecy. It was only after the loud protest of a few neighbors that the board held an open board voting meeting to approve the funds. The previous actions of the board showed a lack of transparency and deep-rooted disregard for the residents. Now the same thing is happening again. Sadly, I believe the Sugar Lakes Board has intertwined itself with the city of Sugar Land to deploy funds the city has charged them with dispensing around the greater community. These applications represent an obligation the Sugar Lakes Board is not authorized to entangle the neighborhood. On rare occasion, this type of obligation would be deemed acceptable after extensive review, discussion, and voting to proceed by the community of Sugar Lakes. These are obligations the residents neither want or expect to be saddled. Thank you, he writes.
At this time, I'll close the public hearing at 5:18 p.m. Now, consideration of an action on Sugar Land 4B Corporation Resolution SL4B R-2302. A resolution of the Board of Directors of Sugar Land 4B approving a request by the City of Sugar Land to fund landscape improvements to be located at various locations along Bayview Drive, and a tree sculpture to be located in the privately owned community park at 930 Sugar Lake Drive under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvement projects using Sugar Land 4B Corporation funds. We also do have Donna from this HOA here to answer any questions that we may have. Director Kamali.
Staff, during due diligence, did you all hear anything like this? Or is this is just a Sugar Lakes HOA issue? I mean, I know we all spoke last time, we all love this project. And I still love this project. Did you hear anything when you were talking to the HOA during the application process?
I did hear from two residents during this application process. I will say that staff did their due diligence and driving out to the streets themselves, taking a video, making sure that the improvements from their last projects was actually implemented to the degree that they applied with in the last application, and staff has no concerns with this application. So,
The two follow-up, the two residents that you spoke to, what were their comments or questions or concerns?
the first comment was readdressed in the public comments just now. It was the same one. And the second comment was it was actually the same, almost the same as well. The same concerns. So
The individual also called me and brought up, I also have talked to residents in this neighborhood. And they did have that open meeting. I mean, we can also ask Donna, where lots of people came in and seemed to be supportive of the project.
I'd love to hear what Donna has to
Yes,
say.
Donna, go ahead.
Well, thank you. So,
Yeah, we need a mic. Say your name, please.
my name is Donna Stahl. I'm president of the Sugar Lakes HOA. Thank you so much for your support last year for our improvement of Sugar Lakes Drive along as well as Bayview Drive parts. So we did have open meetings. It had been mentioned in our monthly HOA meetings since I think February of 2022. So this has been known. We had a series of open meetings at our clubhouse where we had all the plans laid out for residents to come at two separate times. One was after work hours on a weekday, one was early morning, I think 10 to 12 on a Saturday. And so people came out, saw the plans then. We've had no other registrations of people not happy with the plan. We just had a board meeting last night and did not hear any objections to this plan. So, any other questions?
Do I hear a motion?
So, I'll better read it. Okay. I move to approve resolution number SL4B R2302, funding landscaping improvements to be located at various locations along Bayview Drive and a tree sculpture to be located in a privately owned community park at 930 Sugar Lakes Drive in the amount of $18,016 and no cents.
Do I hear a second? Director Atkinson made the motion, Director McCutcheon second, Director Kamali.
Aye.
Director Bessetti.
Aye.
Director Parker.
Aye.
Director Lane.
Aye.
Director Atkinson.
Aye.
Director McCutcheon.
Aye.
And I approve. The motion carries unanimously. George, Donna, thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Resolution SL4B R-23-06. A request by the city of Sugar Land to fund facility rehabilitation, seating, a play structure, and other park improvements to be located in the privately owned community parks at 2431 Planters Row and 1910 Williams Trace Boulevard. Number 2, entryway signage improvements to be located at the intersections of, for 1, Williams Trace and Lexington, and 2, Lexington and Settlers Way, under the council regarding participation with community-based organization improvement projects using Sugar Land 4B corporation funds.
this project included two parts, park improvements at two different locations, 2431 Planters Row and 1910 Williams Trace Boulevard. There was a question at the workshop as to how transformative the park project would be, and staff sent a memo to the board with their application, which I also have here in person. This was in concern to the location at 2431 Planters Row, which is what you can see here on the right. It is a building pool which is not, according to the HOA, has not been in use for nearly 10 years. And so the proposed project would remove the existing fence to make the proposed park improvements that you saw on the first slide publicly accessible. So I think that's the last one.
All right, receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on Sugar Land 4B Corporation Resolution number SL4B R-23-06. Public hearing opened at 5:24 p.m.
We have no one speaking.
All right. Public hearing closed at 5:24 p.m. Consideration of an action on Sugarland 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B R-23-06. Resolution of the Board of Directors, Sugarland 4B, approving a request by the City of Sugarland to fund facility rehabilitation, seating, play structure, and other park improvements to be located in privately owned community parks at 2431 Planters Row and 1910 Williams Trace Boulevard. And 2 entryway signage improvements to be located at the intersections of Williams Trace and Lexington and Settlers Way under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations in capital improvement projects using Sugarland 4B funds. Are there any questions? Director Kamali.
John, is there a timeline that they've done $177,000 reward seems excessive, but do we put a timeline on them to get the work done?
There is a timeline in the agreement that we would enter into with the HOA for them to start the project, but there is, unless desired by the board, there's not a timeline to complete the project.
Correct.
Yes.
And then we don't fund our portion of it until.
It's on a reimbursement basis. And the reason there is not a time limit on some of these projects, some of the projects that this program has funded in the past, like fence projects, they can take a couple of years, and so that flexibility is
Materials and other things.
Question.
Director Atkins.
There's an old pool there, you said?
yes, sir. And then
There's an old pool there. Is that old pool gonna be removed?
yes,
It's already cemented.
Huh?
There's a place in the playground.
It was filled in,
Yeah, it was already filled in.
but the structure is not being removed. Is there anything dangerous about, and I don't know the answer, is there anything dangerous about an old pool that's been filled in being in a children's playground?
To my understanding, the park improvements that will be implemented to the through the Community Association of the Highlands will be implemented in a manner that is safe for children.
So the answer was, I guess not.
The
I
picture
just
that was
wanna
sent
raise
out to
the
the
question.
board, the rendering that was provided by the vendor is seen here on the top right, and we would expect when they submit their reimbursement documentation for the project to look like what they submitted in their application.
Okay.
So
I've often wanted to put a truckload of sand in my pool. But I never thought about an old pool that was covered in dirt and whether or not there's anything that could be dangerous about that. I presume not.
Right, but it's got cement first,
Right.
and then it'll have, yeah, so it's already cement filled, so then
Okay.
it's on top, it would be on top of that cement.
Okay,
yes, and I will say that their scope of work does include the removal of the existing infrastructure that is around this current area.
yeah, and the fence, and
Oh, and the fence.
I
So it's
presume the
publicly
fence
accessible.
was there solely because there was a pool there in the
Yeah.
past.
Yes, sir.
And then one comment I would make is, obviously, this community is making a heck of an investment here.
Yeah, they are.
So,
They are.
you know, it is expensive. But if you look at it, it needs to be done too, and they've recognized that, and they're making a big investment. So.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Go ahead,
Now
read.
you gotta read.
Move to approve resolution number SL4B R-23-06, funding 1, park improvements consisting of facility rehabilitation, seating, and a play structure, and other park improvements to be located in privately owned community parks at 2431 Planters Road and 1910 Williams Trace Boulevard. And 2, entryway signage improvements to be located at the intersection of Williams Trace Boulevard and Lexington Boulevard. And 2, Lexington Boulevard and Settlers Way Boulevard, in the amount of $75,000.
So, all right, so Director Lane made the motion and Director Kamali second, Director Atkinson,
Aye.
Director McCutcheon, Director Souza, Director Kamali, and Director Lane. Again. I also approve. The motion carries unanimously. We are now, just to give everybody an idea, we are at about $225,000 that has been approved.
I have it here too. It's 223,323.
I mean, that was pretty close. All right. Yeah. Okay, so. To respect people's time, if we want, we could stop here and bring this to the next meeting. Or we can continue,
We just have the one item last.
right?
Let's just go ahead and knock it out.
Okay,
Does that mean the next meeting we need to approve an extension of the overall, like after this? project,
that's
or
what we would
all
have to do, yes.
Right, which is why we need to finish it today. so we
Yeah.
can.
Okay.
All right,
So if I live in Greatwood Glen, which does not have a dot,
yeah, I have,
do I need to recuse myself?
I'd say if you live in the Greatwood community, yes.
thanks, Jennifer. All right. Resolution SL4B R 23 08. A request by the city of Sugar Land to fund seating, lighting, swings, play structures to be located in the 8 privately owned community parks within the Greatwood subdivision under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organization. Improvement projects using Sugar Land 4B corporation funds. Don.
Greatwood applied with parks improvements. The scope of work follows on the next pages in your packet. The estimated total project cost is about 90,000 with the amount requested from the SL4B at 45,365.50 cents. The scope of work can be seen on this page with improvements at 8 parks across their community, and staff recommends the SL4B hold a public hearing and approve resolution number SL4B 23-8 approving SL4B funding for the joint CIP project as part of the FY23 joint capital improvement program in the amount to be determined by the board.
All right, receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on Sugar Land 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B R 23 08. Public hearing opened at 5:32 p.m.
No, ma'am, we do not have a speaker.
Closing the public hearing at 5:32 p.m. Consideration of an action on Sugar Land 4B Corporation Resolution Number SL4B R 23 08. A resolution of the Board of Directors of the Sugar Land 4B Corporation approving a request by the city of Sugar Land to fund seating, lighting, swings, and play structures to be located in 8 privately owned community parks within the Greatwood subdivision under the council policy regarding participation with community-based organizations and capital improvement projects using Sugar Land 4B funds. Do we have any questions? There's about 8 different items listed here.
Make a motion to approve resolution number SL4B R 2308 park improvements consisting of seating, lighting, swings, and play structures improvements to be located in 8 privately owned community parks located at Greatwood Crossing subdivision at the intersection of Deer Hollow Drive and Maple Run Drive. Item 2, Greatwood Forest subdivision at the intersection of Great Pecan Lane and Garden Brook. Number 3, Greatwood Bend subdivision at the southwesternmost cul-de-sac of Summerbrook Court. Number 4, Greatwood Stonebridge subdivision at the intersection of Deerbrook Drive and Lauren Way. 5, Greatwood Green subdivision at the intersection of Tilbrook Lane and Scenic Place. 6, Greatwood Fairview subdivision at the intersection of Shadow Bend Drive and Winding Brook Drive East. 7, Greatwood Trail subdivision at the tunnel under Greatwood Parkway, located to the west of the Recreation Center number 1 at 7225 Greatwood Parkway. And 8, Greatwood Stonebridge subdivision and Greatwood Brooks Mill subdivision located at Cross Trail Drive between Terrace View Drive and Shady Bend Drive in the amount of $45,365.50.
Second. All right, Director McCutcheon made the motion, Director Kamali second, Director Stetson.
Yes.
Director Kirkhoff.
Aye.
Director-
Aye.
I don't, but that's okay. So 5 ayes and 1 decline. I'm gonna decline. Yeah, I just don't want all of them. I only want a couple of them, but that's okay. Because it's far back in the neighborhood, that's why. All right. Director's report.
We don't want kids playing in front of you.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah. It's all right. No, I was okay with some of them. I just didn't want them all.
Let's see. All right, I will make this really quick. But just wanted to recognize that we did get some really good coverage of Bluebonnet Nutrition's expansion. We are covered in the Houston Business Journal, got a quote from our office, as well as Community Impact. And then we're recruiting for a few positions, and we've been using some, what's it called? Boosted job postings on LinkedIn. We've been paying for additional marketing, and it's going really well. We're getting a lot of click-throughs compared to what is the standard average. And then as you can see through the images below, we were the main sponsor at the BizNow Life Sciences real estate event last week, I think, and it went really, really well. We showcased a video to showcase Sugarland, and we had the opportunity to open the forum. And so Alba did a great job of getting up there and speaking on our behalf. And then during the event, we also got like a shout out from CBRE and some of the other real estate professionals and recognizing our video. And if you don't mind, I would love to share it really fast because it's only 30 seconds and I'm very proud of it. So here we go.
Located approximately 20 minutes southwest of downtown Houston in the Texas Medical Center, Sugar Land's life science and industry is experiencing strong growth thanks to a highly educated and skilled workforce, the city's pro-business attitude, and an amenity-rich community. Sugar Land is home to a thriving life sciences industry with over 20 biotech companies. You can find innovative biotech, research and development facilities, hospitals, pharmaceutical manufacturers, managed healthcare, and outsourced development services, just to name a few. A couple of well-known life sciences companies in Sugar Land are Helix, Cuba Pharma, Bluebonnet Nutrition, Amerisource Bergen Viatris, and Hope Biosciences. Sugar Land's fast-growing population is one of the most highly educated and globally diverse in the region, attracting top talent from the University of Houston Sugar Land campus and the greater Houston area. In fact, nearly 60% of residents aged 25 and over have at least a bachelor's degree, and more than 500,000 college graduates live within 30 minutes of Sugar Land. To learn more about this growth industry in Sugar Land and the growth opportunities for your company, visit www.sugarlandecodev.com or scan the QR code on the screen.
Okay, I guess technology is not our friend today, but we will also email this to you, and it is also on LinkedIn. The team did a fantastic job. What? It's on also, we'll send you the link so you can watch it, and please share it. They did a great job. We're very proud. And this really ties into all the great work that I was about to kick off with Newmark. So with that, have a great evening.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor? Aye. We got it all.